Under the cold, sterile lights of the London Assembly, the air thick with a silence that felt older than the city itself, the mayor of London was given a simple, profoundly human choice. Apologize to the victims of the rape gangs he pretended for years didn't exist. Apologize to the girls whose trauma he dismissed with a sneer, whose lives were shattered while he looked the other way. He refused. What you are about to witness is not a political gaffe. It is not a clumsy mistake. It is a confession. A chilling admission, broadcast live to the world, of where his loyalties truly lie. And it raises the most terrifying question of all: if the man in charge of policing our capital city is deliberately blind to this evil, what else is he letting fester and multiply in the dark? The mainstream media will call it a heated exchange. They will talk of political theater. They are lying to you. They are deliberately, methodically, missing the point. The broadcast studios at the BBC and Sky News received their instructions within the hour, whispered down the line from their political masters, framed this as a Tory attack line. Isolate it. Neutralize it. Move on. But this was not theater. This was the mask of a multi-million-pound political machine slipping, just for a moment, to reveal the cold, calculating contempt beneath. When Susan Hall of the London Assembly, her voice shaking with a fury that spoke for millions, looked the mayor in the eye and demanded an apology for the victims he had insulted, Sadiq Khan did not make a mistake. He made a choice. In that split second, he chose to protect himself. He chose to protect his crumbling narrative. He chose to protect the fragile, toxic ideology that has brought London to its knees. He did not, for 1 second, choose to protect the children. His response was a masterclass in calculated deception. A torrent of weasel words about thinking of the victims and strengthening protections. Empty platitudes designed to run down the clock and wait for the bell. Watch the footage again. Don't listen to the words, watch the man. See the flicker of pure panic in his eyes before the mask of arrogance slams back down. He doesn't lean forward with concern. He leans back, smug and dismissive, a king in his own court, bothered by a peasant's petition. He tried to shift the conversation to northern towns, anywhere but his own decaying, crime-ridden city. When pressed again, directly, to say the word sorry, the evasion became a grotesque lecture. He began talking about definitions, about intrafamilial abuse, about anything and everything except the specific, organized, predatory horror that everyone in that room, and everyone in this country, understands. This wasn't ignorance. This was strategy. A deliberate, cynical attempt to muddy the waters, to dilute the truth, to protect a very specific profile of offender that his political worldview cannot afford to acknowledge. It was the act of a liar cornered by a truth he can no longer deny. But then, the true, sickening scale of this betrayal began to emerge. The numbers are nothing short of catastrophic. Just weeks ago, a Metropolitan Police probe, codenamed Operation TAP, identified 9,000 historic cases in London that could potentially be linked to grooming gangs. 9,000. Let that number sink in. Not in Rotherham. Not in Rochdale. In London. On Sadiq Khan's watch. An ocean of hidden suffering. A secret history of industrial-scale abuse, right under the noses of City Hall. For a moment, it seemed the truth would finally, explosively, come out into the open. The dam was about to break. And that was only the beginning of the cover-up. Because what happened next stunned everyone. The Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, a man who answers directly to the mayor, a man whose career depends on Khan's patronage, was swiftly deployed to manage the fallout. Those 9,000 cases. Suddenly, they were being whittled down. Recategorized. Explained away. Sources inside Scotland Yard claim the late-night conference calls between City Hall and the Met's top brass were frantic. The order, they say, came down from the top, contain this. Recontextualize the data. Kill the narrative. First, they reviewed just 2,200 of them. Then, we were told, only 1,200 remained, in scope. Now, the commissioner speculates on television that maybe, just maybe, 2,000 or 3,000 might warrant reinvestigation. You are watching a cover-up happen in real time. A statistical sleight of hand designed to make a tidal wave of evil look like a puddle. They are more terrified of you knowing the truth than they are of the predators who walk our streets. This is the two-tier system in all its brutal, unforgivable reality. On one side, you have the victims. Think of a family in a tower block in Lewisham. The father, a former Royal Marine sergeant from Hull, a man who served in Afghanistan, now works as a scaffolder, trying to build a life. His daughter, 15, once bright and bubbly, is now withdrawn, failing at school, her phone buzzing with messages she won't let them see. They report their fears. They are told it's just teenage rebellion. The mother finds evidence of older men, of expensive gifts, of cars waiting after school. They go to the police and are told they are being overprotective, perhaps even a little prejudiced. The father, a man trained to fight for his country, confronts one of the men and is arrested himself for a breach of the peace. The system doesn't just fail them. It actively turns on them. It punishes the protectors and shields the predators. This family's nightmare is one of thousands that Sadiq Khan has just airbrushed from history. Their pain is dismissed as an inconvenience. Their truth is a political risk he is unwilling to take. On the other side, you have the insulated elite. Sadiq Khan, sitting in his taxpayer-funded office in a fortress by the Thames, protected by a wall of press officers and political advisors, ferried about in armored, chauffeur-driven cars with tinted windows. He has the audacity to lecture the public on precise language, while victims are systematically denied justice. He is backed by a bureaucracy, led by men like Sir Mark Rowley, who speak in the sterile, soulless jargon of management consultancy. They talk of typology and misinterpretation and warn us not to use catchphrases. They are more concerned with public relations than with locking up rapists. They are more worried about damaging community cohesion than they are about shattered lives. Their priority is not justice for the innocent. It is damage control for the powerful. Insiders claim the entire apparatus of City Hall went into meltdown when the 9,000 figure was revealed, not out of horror for the victims, but out of pure, naked fear for the political consequences. The first question asked was not, how do we help them, but how do we kill this story? The villain of this piece is clear. Sadiq Khan is not just incompetent. His performance reveals something far darker, far more sinister. It reveals a man so beholden to a toxic, divisive ideology that he is willing to sacrifice the safety of children on its altar. What drives a man to this point? Critics believe it is the moral paralysis of modern progressive politics. An ideology so terrified of causing offense to certain protected groups that it has become incapable of confronting evil when it comes from within them. For Khan and his acolytes, the greatest sin is not child abuse, it is the crime of stigmatization. The fear of a headline in The Guardian accusing them of racism is more potent than the silent screams of 1,000 victims. This is the catastrophic endpoint of identity politics, a twisted hierarchy of victimhood where the working-class girl is always at the bottom of the pile, her suffering deemed politically inconvenient, her reality utterly, cruelly denied. But where there are villains, there must be heroes. The heroes are the ones who refuse to be silent. Susan Hall, who stared down the mayor's arrogance and spoke for every parent, every patriot in this country sick to death of the lies. Figures like Aunt Middleton, a former Special Forces soldier, who publicly condemned Khan's zero accountability and zero leadership skills, promising to make London safe again. And we are told of veteran detectives in the Met, men and women who have dedicated their lives to catching monsters, sitting in their offices in utter despair. One inspector, close to retirement, allegedly told a colleague, "We know who they are. We know where they are. But our hands are tied by politics." And the ultimate heroes are the British people themselves. The millions who are watching this unfold, not on the compromised BBC, but on channels like this. The people who are connecting the dots. The people who see the sneering contempt of the elite and are finally saying, no more. They are the rising force in this country, a silent majority that is finding its voice. A movement that Nigel Farage and Reform UK have tapped into, a deep well of righteous anger against a political class that has utterly betrayed them. This is the moment of decision. The final, unforgivable act of a mayor who has lost all moral authority. They are counting on you to forget. They are hoping this story will be buried under the next wave of headlines. They are praying you will grow tired and look away. They believe your anger is temporary. They are wrong. So I ask you, is this justice? A system where thousands of abuse cases are minimized, redefined, and swept under the carpet to protect a fragile and self-serving political narrative? Do you believe a man who cannot utter the simple words, "I am sorry," to the victims of rape gangs is fit to hold any position of power, let alone control of our capital's police force? Or do you believe this is the final straw? The moment the British people must rise up and reclaim their country from the corrupt, decaying elite that despises them? If you refuse to stay silent, if you believe Britain deserves better than this humiliation, then make your voice heard in the comments. Share this video with everyone you know. Let them know we are watching. Let them know we will not forget. And let them know their rotten time is up.